West, the lineups are loaded. As always, Lauren Shehadi here joining me on the other line. Ken Berger, NBA columnist. Ken, this is an exciting time of year for you.
It is. This is going to be a fun weekend, as long as none of our All-Stars get traded before Sunday.
Then it can make for a very interesting weekend. They're trading teams already. All right, looking back, 6 years, it's 3-3, 3 for the East, 3 for the West. Who has the edge this time around, Ken?
You know, it seems to me it's the West's turn. The East has won 3 of the last 4, and so I'm going to go West this year. I think I think the East is pretty loaded inside, and I think you're going to see a pretty good show out of Kobe in this game on the Western side, and Chris Paul, who's coming back from a groin injury, but he should be ready to go. I think he's going to be pretty good to watch.
You know, looking at these lineups, Ken, there's always going to be critics. This guy was left out, and he shouldn't have been. You know, this veteran made it, and his numbers aren't there. Who was left off, in your opinion?
Well, initially, Mo Williams of Cleveland was a guy that really stood out, as well as Ray Allen, and both of those guys got in on the Eastern side due to injuries to Chris Bosh and Jameer Nelson. So I think the East is in pretty good shape. The only guy that you could really argue about would be David Lee. But as good a year as he's having, the Knicks aren't good enough to really warrant, an All-Star, and he'll probably get some consideration next year. In the West, I felt that even though Shaquille O'Neal will be, barrels of laughs to have out there, and it'll be a lot of fun to see him with Kobe Bryant and Phil Jackson, they'll be reunited again. I didn't think that his production at this stage of his career really warranted it, and I felt that Al Jefferson was the guy that should have been in that spot. It turns out Al Jefferson got hurt anyway, so he wouldn't have been able to play. But other than that, I think we have two pretty good rosters here, and I don't really have any big complaints.
You mentioned Shaq being on the same team as Kobe, and obviously Phil. Well, for the first time since that loss in 2004, how does that play out?
That'll be one of the fascinating stories. Shaq has been unusually graceful when it comes to Kobe and Phil, and his comments leading up to the All-Star game. It almost makes you wonder if he's trying to get traded back to the Lakers because he realized the Suns aren't going anywhere. And the funny thing is, the reason they're not going anywhere is because the Suns traded for him. But I think it's going to be fun to see how they interact. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of stories written about them in the 2 days leading up to the game. But really, the best part is going to see them on the floor together and see how they interact and how they play off of each other. It's going to be pretty cool.
It's going to be cool, and the game's going to be tight. What's going to be the difference in this game full of stars?
It's always hard to handicap All-Star games. I mean, there's certainly not going to be any defense. That's the one thing I can say for sure. But if I had to guess, I would say maybe the experience in the West. I think the East has a lot of young guys. They have first-time All-Star and Devin Harris and Danny Granger that are going to be fun to watch. But I don't know if the moment's going to be too big for those guys. We'll have to find out. I think the West is, a pretty solid group, and we'll play off each other really well.
Absolute lack of defense, no lack of excitement. That is for sure. We will be here to track it. I'm Lauren Shehadi. See y'all soon.